This is my drawing of a very sexy Miss All Sunday. I hope you enjoy it as I enjoy drawing it, brothers and sisters. If you do, please follow me on the Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more pictures of lovely women. One Piece, Chapter 114, The Course.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic tale of One Piece. The last chapter saw Igaram leaving dressed as Princess Vivi, and kind of going off as a decoy, but his ship immediately getting blown up, and then of course the chapter ending with basically everybody looking to get on the ship and get out of there very quickly. Nami, Zoro's going to go back to the boat and get it ready. Nami and Vivi, of course, are going to meet him there, and Luffy has been tasked with going back and grabbing our other two sleeping compatriots, Sanji and Usopp. So that's how the chapter starts out. It's rather funny, actually, because because Luffy is basically tapping on and trying to push, punch, pull, whatever he's going to do to get Sanji and Usopp awake. They're kind of like, "What do you want? Leave us alone," Luffy grabs him by the feet and like, "I got him," and starts running out the door and basically just dragging him behind him. We then go see Nami and Princess Vivi are looking around for Carue, her duck, and her chocobo or whatever you want to call it. So they're looking around for her duck as they're getting closer to the ship. She's trying this whistle, is not coming. Basically everybody kind of meets up at the ship over there, and then Zoro's like, "What the hell's going on?" Because she's like, "I can't leave without him," and we're like, "We're not waiting for a duck," and sorry, but we're gonna have to leave him back. So anyway, Zoro's like, "What's the deal?" And they say, "Well, and Nami's explaining, she's trying to get her duck. He's got this whistle, he won't come." And then Zoro goes, "Oh, you mean this one?" Yeah, he was on board when I got here, so he was already on board, ready to go. So he's done. He wants to leave the island as well. So they all go and of course get together. Sanji and Usopp are pretty much dragged on board as they're still unconscious, they're still sleeping, and then they go and they set sail. Vivi tells them, hurry up and get down the river over here to the inlet, and you'll wind up catching a fair wind. It'll at least give us a little bit of a head start. And then, of course, we know that they're going to follow the log pose that they have to the next island and the next island, and however many islands or stops it is. Igaram said 2 or 3, he thought, in between here and in the kingdom of Alabasta. So as they go and kind of, it's daybreak, it's morning time, and the sun is crusting up over the top, and Luffy is sitting there, and as they're kind of coming out of the inlet, the harbor, whatever you want to call that, there on Whiskey Peak, Luffy is sitting atop the mast, and he's like, "Hey, there's fog ahead. Watch out for the rocks," And next thing you know, you go, you go and you hear you see like a word bubble from this mysterious figure that is actually on the ship. Now, prior to seeing the mysterious figure, we see a quick one-page thing of this mysterious figure, this beautiful woman with a cowboy hat on, that has basically, she was the one who, she goes, "Oh, a decoy," and she was by the wreckage, of course, of Igaram's ship, so we can assume that she's the one that that was tasked, or that blew it up, I guess. And anyway, so as they're going and exiting out of the harbor, and then we get the whole, there's fog, watch out for the rocks, and I apologize, I told it a little bit out of order, but that happens. All of a sudden, she kind of appears, and there's this word bubble, and she's like, "Oh, geez, I'm glad you got out of there," and all of a sudden, everybody turns their attention to her. What the hell? So this beautiful woman is sitting there, and she's got her legs crossed. She's sitting up on the edge of the rail, up towards the top of the ship where the top cabin is there, and she's just kind of like, "Oh yeah, and blah blah blah. I didn't know if you'd make it out of there, and you used a decoy that was very clever, and all this." And we're introduced very quickly to her as the point as Miss All Sunday, the vice supreme commander of Baroque Works. So so basically, Vivi's like, "Oh, you're the," they're trying to deduce who she is, and she's actually that guy, Mr. Zero's partner, Sir Crocodile, who we found out is the is the head of Baroque Works. And basically, what ensues over the next several pages is both informative and comical. We don't really know what her whole game is. We just know that that all of a sudden Sanji and Usopp have come awake because of the commotion, and they kind of appear on either side of her. Sanji with a gun pointed at one side of her, to the right side of her, and to the left side of her is Usopp with his with his slingshot drawn back. So, and she's trying to talk to them, and without even turning to look at them or even looks like making a motion at all, she basically just says, don't point, you could hurt, don't point things at me. You could hurt somebody, right? And she pretty much just like somehow magically, it seems, flips them over the rail and onto the main deck where Luffy and Nami and Vivi are, of course, and Zoro. So, and they're all like, oh, she must have devil fruit powers. What power does she have? So I don't know if she does or she doesn't, because that's not revealed at all. Don't even really know who she is. I just know that, I did draw a picture of her. So hopefully everybody enjoys that. But, like I said, that what ensues over the next few pages is basically them explaining about, that is how Igaram and Princess Vivi were able to find out the identity of the boss of Sir Crocodile. They followed, the Miss All Sunday, and she says, "Why let you follow me?" And they go, "Yeah, we know." But the thing is that as soon as she let his identity be known or slip or whatever, then all of a sudden she kind of like turned on him and let the boss know and kind of came after him. So we don't know what her whole ploy or play is. And then she goes and she takes and basically teleports Luffy's hat off of his head, with her power. So whatever power it is that she has, it must be some sort of being able to use like an invisible force, I guess that's the only thing I can think of. And she goes and pulls it over and puts it on top of her cowboy hat on top of it. And Luffy's mad, he's like, hey, don't take that. You're starting a fight, right? So she goes and makes some mention of, basically here you're if you follow the log pose that you have, you're headed towards an island called Little Garden. And we don't know anything, or at least I don't know anything about Little Garden. And she says, so basically, you're already as good as dead anyway. You're going to save us, you're going to pretty much save us the trouble of having to come after you. Baroque works, right? So, that's kind of how that transpires. Luffy's still mad, yelling at her. She goes and then as Luffy, of course, is mad at her and asking for his hat back, she goes and tosses down to Vivi this another pose, and it looks like a log pose, but a little bit different. It looks almost like an hourglass. And she says, "Here's the eternal pose. It points to the island of nothing." She says, "But which is one stop before Alabasta. But if you take this route, not even any of our agents know about it." So she's basically like giving her a way to get there, the safest route. And then someone's like, is it, I think Zoro says, well, what is it, a trap or is it a trick or whatever? And she goes, I don't know. So we don't really know what her intentions are. She's very vague. She's very non-committal on anything either way, very gray area like, and she had mentioned too earlier, like, listen, I'm not here to try to kill you. Okay. I'm on another assignment. So just, don't worry about that. She's basically just there kind of toying with him, it seems like. So Luffy then goes and as he gets his hat back over there, he goes and reaches out, and they haven't even made the decision what route they're going to take or what have you, whether this is going to be the good one or what. Luffy reaches out and grabs it and just crushes it. And he's like, we're not going that way. He's like, we're not sailing that way. I don't like her. She killed the guy with the rollers. Because he liked Igaram. He liked Mr. 8. And remember, he kept telling him and complimenting him on his on the getup, the dress that he was wearing. You look really nice in that outfit, mister. So I don't know what Luffy's deal is. He's a little strange. But, because Nami's like, what the hell did you do that for? So, I was going to say, Miss All Sunday winds up taking off eventually. She goes and jumps off onto her, and she's got like this giant sea turtle that she goes and rides off on. And Luffy's like, wow, she's got a big turtle. That's awesome, So they kind of go off, and they're going to head off towards Little Garden. And Luffy's pretty much like, that's where we're going anyway. Nobody's going to tell me what my route is or what the safest one is, And there's mention, too, in the chapter of Baroque Works, how many, agents do you think are going to come after us? And I think it was maybe towards the beginning of it. But Vivi said, that there's a total of around 2,000, agents, and that she would expect that to protect the boss's identity, he would probably send, he might send 1,000 of them after him, or more. And that there is other towns like Whiskey Peak as well that she's heard of or that she knows of that are just all, bounty hunter agents or whatever for Baroque Works. So we're certainly going to see that, I think, come into play as well. The chapter ends up shortly after that. We get a kind of quick flash of Little Garden, which looks kind of cool. We go and we see, like, a jungle, and we see a tiger, and okay, that's great, that's menacing, right? And then we go and we see the tiger walking by, and we see these, like, giant footprints, man. It look like King Kong size footprints, by him. So we know that there's something big on at the Little Garden, or on that island. So, and then it kind of goes back to Sanji and Usopp now that they've finally been properly debriefed on everything that's going on, and Sanji's basically like, oh well, it's a shame that I was sleeping, but don't worry about it. I'll have plenty of time to to get my fighting in, in other instances. And then Usopp's like, I'm actually glad that I slept through and had to have nothing to do with it, right? And then Sanji goes and does his little, pimp thing, because he's, he even went and pulled the gun. He has no idea why he pulled the gun on Miss All Sunday, because, because Usopp goes, you know what you're doing? And he goes, no, I just thought that Miss Wednesday was being hassled or she was in trouble. So he's, Mr. Man-whore over there. And, Sanji, the male gigolo. So he very quickly asks Nami, of course, if she's jealous now that he's giving more of his attention to Miss Wednesday, which she is not and could care less. Then there's a brief but funny exchange where Luffy is sitting there and he's just like, geez, I think it's going to snow. And Zoro goes, it's not going to snow. And he goes, you wouldn't know if it was going to snow because you were sleeping the last time that it snowed. I think it's going to snow. And obviously, if you remember last time when they were on their way to Whiskey Peak, Zoro was doing his trademark snoozing while all hell was breaking loose. So rather comical, I thought. But I guess my question for this chapter is going to be, what do you think, with the knowledge you have thus far, of Miss All Sunday? I personally think there's more than meets the eye and that there's some more motives there. But I don't know. I mean, is she there to hurt? Is she there to help? Or is she just there to, kind of confuse the situation while, meeting her ultimate end goal? So let me know what you think, though, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Remember, brothers and sisters, to share, subscribe, spread the word of the nation to others, and of course, if you like watching the videos, watching them is always much appreciated. Have a nice day.